Welcome to the debate. So I want you to imagine a scenario that, well, it could very likely play out this September.
Okay, let's hear it.
So it's week 3. You've got this, Super Bowl winning $50 million veteran quarterback.
Right.
And he throws a single interception. Just one. But it's on a critical third down.
Yeah, the crowd loves that.
Oh, exactly. Almost instantly, the entire stadium starts chanting the name of the 21-year-old rookie. The kid who's just standing on the sideline holding a clipboard.
Yeah.
Now, historically, head coaches ignore that noise.
Right.
They stick to the plan.
They have to.
Right. They protect their veterans and they just sort of weather the storm. But if you look closely at the data and the dynamics for 2026, they are staring down a scenario where they might just hand over the keys.
Interesting.
Yeah. So today we are examining the upcoming 2026 NFL season. And the central question we are tackling is this. Is the 2026 season fundamentally defined by unprecedented systemic volatility and the sudden collapse of the established old guard?
Or is it, the other thing?
Exactly. Or is this perception of absolute league-wide chaos merely the cyclical, highly predictable illusion of preseason hype?
Right.
I will be arguing that 2026 marks a genuine structural paradigm shift in professional football.
Wow. Paradigm shift. That's a big term.
It is, but I think it fits. We are looking at a season driven by wildly accelerated rookie timelines, massive front office pressure, and collapsing championship windows that will, in my view, irrevocably alter the hierarchy of the league.
Well, and I will be taking the opposing view on this one.
Naturally.
Yeah. Look, while the narratives of dramatic change and a rookie takeover they're deafening right now, I argue that the underlying structural realities of the NFL will hold up.
You think so?
I do, specifically the mechanics of massive veteran cap hits, multi-year roster building, and just the sheer complexity of regular season defensive schemes.
Right.
All of that will ultimately enforce stability. The league is built to absorb this supposed storm.
Well, let's dive right into why I think this year is structurally different from what we've seen in the past.
Okay.
We have to start with the reality that the traditional development timeline for a young player is just dead.
Dead?
Dead. Historically, we saw rookies enter the league hoping to just survive their first training camp.
Right. Carry the veterans' pads, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. They essentially asked for 2 or 3 years to sit on the bench, learn the playbook, and absorb the culture behind a seasoned veteran.
The Aaron Rodgers model.
Yes, exactly. But that era is over. The 2026 rookie class, they are walking onto the field completely unintimidated.
They are very confident, I'll give you that.
They don't want to develop, They want the starting jobs immediately.
Yeah.
And when you combine this unprecedented rookie impatience with the incredible, suffocating Super Bowl or bust pressure on older rosters, you have a breaking point.
Well,
when you have fearless rookies colliding with aging, highly stressed veteran rosters, the result isn't just a tough camp competition.
what is it then?
It creates a structural crisis, one that I believe will shatter at least one established powerhouse and completely upend the hierarchy we've come to accept.
So I come at it from a completely different way.
I figured you might.
Yeah. The narrative of a massive season of change is, quite frankly, an annual mirage.
A mirage?
Yeah, it is. Every August, somebody points out that it's only preseason, and they are entirely right to say so.
Sure, but
Yes, young players are exhibiting flashes of incredible speed and confidence right now. They look fantastic. I'm not denying that.
they look unbelievable.
But we have to look at the why. They look fantastic because they are playing against vanilla-based defensive schemes.
Okay, true, but
We cannot confuse August aesthetics with December reality. The NFL is an institution built on heavy, unmovable realities.
right. But are they unmovable?
I think they are. Organizations do not simply discard a proven quarterback who is trying to lead a championship run just because a rookie threw a pretty 60-yard pass in a low-stakes environment. The foundational architecture of the league is designed to resist that kind of sudden disruption.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective, because I think we need to test that architecture where it is most vulnerable.
Which is where?
The quarterback wars. We always hear about established superstars holding their ground, but this year, the rookies are making plays in live game action that are forcing the issue.
Preseason game action.
Still game action. Think of it like a hostile corporate takeover, but the general manager is the board of directors.
Okay.
The veteran's massive contract acts as a poison pill, right? It's designed to keep the company stable.
Exactly.
But when the fans, who are essentially the shareholders in this analogy, when they see this rookie looking objectively better,
In August,
yes, but operating with more burst and higher arm talent, they demand an immediate change in leadership.
sure, fans always want the shiny new toy.
But how can a head coach or a GM maintain the old hierarchy when the market is visibly demanding the rookie?
Because
The pressure from the stands inevitably bleeds into the locker room, making patience impossible.
that's a compelling analogy, but let's look at the actual mechanics of that corporate poison pill.
Okay.
It isn't just a metaphor, it is dead cap money.
Right.
The GM isn't keeping the veteran out of stubbornness or just blind loyalty. If they bench the $50 million quarterback, that salary cap space is already spent.
It is.
It's locked in. It's a sunk cost trap that actively incentivizes coaches in front offices to willfully ignore the outside noise, to save their own jobs.
Wait, let me stop you there.
Sure.
Are you saying front offices will intentionally sabotage the on-field product just to justify their accounting?
No, I'm saying they are protecting the long-term viability of the franchise because they know what actually wins games when the weather gets cold.
Which is veteran experience.
Exactly. A hostile takeover only works if the new CEO actually knows how to run the company when a crisis hits.
Okay.
And in the NFL, the market isn't just the fans chanting. The market is the incredibly complex, unforgiving environment of the regular season.
But the rookies.
Smart organizations know they absolutely must stay patient because the regular season exposes rookies in ways the preseason simply cannot.
Okay. Exposes them how, specifically? Because from what I'm seeing, these rookies are processing the field just fine.
They are processing preseason fields just fine.
What's the difference, really, when the game speeds up?
Let's talk about the mechanics of an NFL defense. In August, a rookie sees a basic four-man rush and a standard cover three zone.
Right.
He knows exactly where his first read is. He throws it, it's a highlight on social media.
Sure.
But in November, on a critical 3rd and long, a defensive coordinator is going to show a cover zero blitz.
Yeah, bring in the house.
Right. Every single linebacker and safety looks like they are coming after the quarterback. Post-snap, 2 of those pass rushers suddenly drop into the shallow throwing lanes.
Right.
While a defensive back blitzes from the blind side. A veteran quarterback has the cognitive library to process that disguise in 1.2 seconds.
They slide the protection.
Exactly. They slide the offensive line protection and they hit the hot route. A rookie panics.
Not always.
Usually, they hold the ball for 2.5 seconds and take a sack that ends a critical drive.
But
That proven experience, that ability to read the matrix of a disguised coverage, massively outweighs the aesthetic beauty of an August deep ball.
I hear you.
The financial weight of the veteran contract is an investment in that multi-year processing speed.
That's an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently.
How so?
You are treating these rookies as if they are the raw developmental projects from 10 years ago.
They still have to learn the NFL speed.
But the mechanisms of football have fundamentally changed from the ground up. The college offenses these rookies are coming out of have evolved to perfectly mirror modern NFL schemes.
Partially, yeah.
They aren't arriving in the NFL having to learn a completely new language. They are just speaking their native language against faster defenders.
But the speed of those defenders is exactly what forces the mistakes.
Not if the offensive scheme mitigates it. Look at the RPO, the run-pass option.
Sure,
These rookies have been running incredibly complex RPO concepts since they were in high school.
that's true.
Their processing speed for these specific quick game concepts is arguably faster and more intuitive than a 35-year-old veteran who had to, artificially adapt to the spread offense mid-career.
Well,
When that rookie steps in and immediately operates a high-speed, modern offense with a higher ceiling than the aging veteran, the coach's hand is forced.
forced by who?
By the talent. The talent acceleration is forcing immediate, drastic action. It's not just fans yelling. It's the undeniable reality that the rookie's physical tools and scheme familiarity offer a better chance to win today.
Okay, but even if I grant you that, destabilization of a single position group, even the quarterback, does not equal systemic league-wide chaos.
It's the domino effect, though.
If a veteran gets benched, it is a highly localized media circus for that specific city.
I disagree.
But let's follow your logic and expand this from individual players to entire franchises. Because I think this is where the narrative of total chaos really falls apart.
Okay, lay it out.
You are arguing that the league's entire hierarchy is about to be completely upended.
Exactly. Because a quarterback controversy doesn't happen in a vacuum.
No?
No, it directly triggers a franchise-wide crisis. Let's look at the broader franchise level, specifically the fragility of these supposed powerhouses versus the rise of the 5-win team.
All right.
We are dealing with an incredibly destructive phenomenon, which is the Super Bowl or bust mentality.
Which every team wants?
Right, but contending teams do not have time for excuses. They are built to win right now. And to achieve that, they mortgage their future.
Yeah, they do.
They trade away first-round draft picks for aging stars, and they structure contracts with massive void years,
Pushing the cap hit down the road.
pushing catastrophic salary cap hits into the future just to squeeze out one more playoff run.
But that's just modern roster management. The salary cap can be manipulated.
Up to a point, but it creates an incredibly fragile ecosystem.
I wouldn't call it fragile.
They aren't building a resilient, sustainable structure. They are building a high-performance engine that is perpetually redlining.
Okay.
And when that engine blows, when the aging roster suddenly looks slow against this new, incredibly fast rookie class, or an injury strikes.
Well, injuries happen to everyone.
Yes, but for them, the collapse is catastrophic. The roster literally breaks apart under the financial weight because they have no cap space to sign replacements.
They find ways.
The pressure causes a coach to lose a fractured locker room. I am arguing that this immense pressure guarantees that at least one powerhouse completely falls apart this year.
Just completely falls apart?
Yes, and when a massive structure collapses, it creates a vacuum in the standings.
A vacuum.
That vacuum is exactly what allows a team predicted to win 5 or 6 games to suddenly find themselves playing meaningful football in January. The system isn't stable. It's a house of cards waiting for a single gust of wind.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that.
Why not?
Let me tell you why. You are conflating the natural attrition of a single overly aggressive football team with a systemic failure of the league's entire power structure.
They're connected.
Yes, it is highly likely that at least one powerhouse falls apart this year.
Right.
But why do they fall apart? Usually, it is because of an acute, isolated event.
Like what?
As we've seen historically, one major injury to a star left tackle or a defensive edge rusher can destroy a Super Bowl favorite.
Exactly.
If a star player tears a ligament, that team might collapse. But that is injury attrition. That is biological bad luck, not a structural paradigm shift.
But the fragility makes them uniquely vulnerable to that bad luck. That's my point.
Every team is vulnerable to injuries, but the core philosophy of how smart contenders operate remains entirely intact.
Does it, though?
It does. Organizations like the Chiefs or the Ravens build rosters with overlapping depth. They manage the salary cap to retain a young core.
Well, they're the exception.
And they hire coaches to establish resilient cultures that survive a 1-3 start.
Okay.
The idea that a powerhouse falling apart automatically validates the sudden rise of a 5-win team is a false equivalency.
How is it false? If one team drops, another team rises.
A team predicted to win 5 games making a playoff run is a phenomenal story, sure.
Yeah, perhaps driven by one breakout rookie quarterback or a suddenly dominant defensive scheme. But structurally, it is a statistical outlier.
An outlier?
It is the exception that proves the rule. The vast majority of playoff teams in December will be the ones who meticulously built their rosters over the last 3 or 4 years. A house of cards might fall, but the teams built out a brick are still standing.
I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning.
Why?
Because it drastically underestimates how interconnected these events are and how thin the margin of victory actually is in the NFL.
It is thin, I'll give you that.
When an organization makes major aggressive moves specifically because they are chasing a championship right now, they aren't built of brick.
What are they built of? They are built of leverage. When the pressure causes a coach to point fingers, or the $50 million quarterback is benched for the rookie, the locker room divides.
Sometimes.
The collapse is systemic to that organization's philosophy, and it absolutely validates the rise of the underdog.
I just don't see it as a league-wide thing.
The parity in this league means that when a top-tier team drops just 2 games they were supposed to win, it dramatically alters the playoff seeding.
Mathematically, yes.
Somebody nobody believes in right now will become the biggest surprise in football specifically because the established hierarchy is far more brittle than we want to admit.
It is brittle at the absolute margins, perhaps.
More than the margins.
But you are essentially arguing that because a high-performance engine occasionally requires a total rebuild, the concept of the engine itself is fundamentally flawed.
It's heavily flawed.
These front offices take calculated risks to maximize their championship windows. Even if one fails spectacularly, 3 others succeed using the exact same calculated methodology of leaning on veteran experience and complex schemes.
But that brings us to the most philosophical point of this entire debate, and honestly, the core of why I think your reliance on past methodology is flawed.
Okay, let's get philosophical.
Let's talk about the illusion of starting at 0.
Okay.
The reality of the NFL dictates a very powerful directive. Forget last year's records. Forget what a player's name says on the back of his jersey.
Right. Any given Sunday.
Once week 1 arrives, everybody literally starts at 0. I argue that this isn't just a motivational cliche a coach puts on a whiteboard.
It kind of is, though.
No, it is a literal description of the league's fundamental unpredictability. We spend the entire offseason studying rosters, tracking salary cap figures, and predicting win totals, but it is ultimately futile.
Futile?
We don't know nearly as much as we think we do.
I have to push back there. Are you saying all offseason analysis is pointless?
I'm saying the variables are too volatile for past performance to act as a reliable anchor.
Too volatile?
The sheer unpredictability of breakout quarterbacks or defenses that suddenly master a new scheme and become dominant overnight proves that the only constant foundation in the NFL is change itself.
Change is constant, sure.
Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future success when health, locker room chemistry, and rookie integration can completely redefine a team's identity in a matter of weeks.
That's a compelling argument. But have you considered that starting at 0 is only true in the strict mathematical sense of the standings?
What do you mean?
Yes, every team is 0-0 on the morning of week 1, but they absolutely do not start at 0 in terms of talent, offensive scheme, organizational infrastructure, or institutional memory.
But how much does institutional memory matter if the players executing it are a step slower?
It matters immensely because football is a game of angles and anticipation, as much as it is about raw speed.
Speed kills, though.
You cannot have a championship window if every season truly starts from a blank slate. The fact that teams restructure contracts and retain veterans proves that past actions, the multi-year momentum and roster building, absolutely do matter.
They matter to the accountants.
They matter on the field. The shocks and surprises, the 5-win team that comes completely out of nowhere, represent the margin of error in our offseason predictions.
I think it's more than a margin of error.
They do not represent a complete reset of reality. We might not know everything, but we know enough to understand the baseline mechanics of the sport.
Which are changing.
But the baseline is this: a well-run organization with a proven veteran quarterback who can accurately diagnose a blitz is mathematically far more likely to succeed than a chaotic franchise starting a rookie who has only ever faced vanilla coverages.
But my point is that the margin of error is expanding so rapidly that it is swallowing the rule entirely.
Swallowing the rule?
When we say forget what a player's name says on the back of his jersey, it is directly attacking your concept of institutional memory.
How so? Me lately business.
Exactly. If a rookie processes information quicker because he's a product of the modern spread offense, and he plays with an absolute lack of intimidation, that historical resume on the veteran means absolutely nothing on the grass.
It means something to the defense.
The unpredictability isn't just a minor statistical deviation. It is the defining characteristic of the 2026 season. The surprises aren't flukes. They are the new reality asserting itself against a stubborn old guard that is simply too slow to adapt.
Look, I agree the league doesn't care about nostalgia. It is incredibly ruthless.
Very ruthless.
But it does care about execution, and high-level execution on a Sunday in December is born from repetition, experience, and structural stability most of the time. The jersey name might not matter, but the cognitive library of defenses that player has built up over a decade certainly does.
Right.
A rookie might be fast, But a veteran who knows exactly where the ball needs to go before the snap even happens is functionally faster.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today regarding the mechanics and the psychology of the upcoming 2026 season.
We really have.
To summarize my position, 2026 represents a unique, undeniable inflection point. The sheer impatience and adapted speed of this incoming rookie class, combined with the immense structural Super Bowl or bust pressure that is currently redlining aging rosters, will force unprecedented decisions.
Unprecedented.
Yes, we are going to see veteran benchings that shock the public, triggered by front offices that can no longer ignore the on-field product. We are going to witness the collapse of at least one major powerhouse burdened by its own financial expectations, and this will result in undeniable, systemic change across the league's hierarchy.
And to summarize my stance, while the off-season talking heads and the preseason hype machine heavily favor this exciting, chaotic narrative of a complete rookie takeover, the reality of the NFL is far more grounded in long-term mechanics.
The unmovable realities.
Exactly. The structural realities. The massive sunk cost traps of veteran contracts, the sheer complexity of regular season defensive schemes, and the multi-year reality of championship roster building will ultimately dictate the season.
Right.
Stability and experience will, as they almost always do, outlast the illusions of August.
I think where we absolutely converge today is recognizing the sheer intensity of the tension inside these front offices right now.
Oh, absolutely.
The dynamic between expensive, proven veterans trying to hold their ground and cheap, highly confident rookies demanding the spotlight will absolutely define the early weeks of the season.
Agreed. It will force coaches and general managers into the hardest, most consequential decisions of their careers.
Yeah.
The friction between the future and the present is undeniable, and the salary cap implications of getting it wrong are massive.
Which brings us to the core value of looking at it from both sides. Whether you view the upcoming season as a battleground for sudden disruptive change or as a profound test of established structural resilience, there is immense intellectual value in holding both perspectives simultaneously.
Well said.
It forces us to look past the surface-level hype and understand the actual mechanics driving the sport. As Week 1 kicks off and the actual football begins, I want everyone listening to watch how these front office psychologies and on-field realities collide.
It's going to be fascinating.
The massive veteran contract is a safety net for a franchise, right up until the moment it becomes an anchor.
Or until that safety net catches a franchise just before it falls off a cliff.
Exactly. There is so much more to explore once the real games begin. Until next time.